Hey everybody, Jobn from the Time Pals here. Just wanted to give a shout out to my partners over at Legendary Supplements and the Legendary Legion. Their Crack and Intense Focus Blizzard Mojito flavor is something I've been using all week to focus on my work and get it done quickly and efficiently. It is a nice, cool, citrusy blast and provides a nice, clean energy that focuses on mental clarity as opposed to physical energy. So no crash, no jitters, and the benefits speak for themselves. I definitely suggest you try it, and we have a code for you to try at checkout. Just punch in Time Pals.
Late nights and cheap wine, we gather around the mic, just killing time. Tales of glory days, now long behind. A podcast of dads who lost their minds. We reminisce on the good old days when we had hair and our bodies didn't ache. Now it just
Hey, it's underscore of the Time Pals, and this week we're taking a short break from our usual video game and movie nostalgia episodes and kind of playing into our Geek Dads motif. You know what the theme song says. We have some really fun stuff recorded for the Halloween season. Shadows created a surprise Dungeon Master campaign. Nickell and a special guest will be talking Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, and there's other geeky things planned for the spooky season. To kick it off, with me today is John and Nickell. Did I say John? Probably should have been Jobn.
I don't care.
You don't care anymore? I don't care anymore.
care
It's pretty early in the morning.
Slightly changed gaming name with one additional letter from what is exactly my real name. The jig is up. They know who I am.
Right, we got to throw off the feds somehow. What'd be funny is that, like, they were trying to Google your name and they kept making the same mistake and spelling it correctly.
I mean, at least until we start making money. Until we start making money off this thing, then we got to throw the feds off. So we can.
Oh no! This is a tax thing that I'm doing. I don't know if you guys understand that I'm not just burning my money, but I'm burning it to hide other money.
Oh, okay, cool. I mean, that's smart.
I don't know about smart, but it's happening.
Can we declare ourselves a charity organization and then just be tax exempt?
I'm declaring myself one of the Cayman Islands. I'm a full-on piece of sand in the ocean. That's actually what I used to tell my own family. I would say, if Daddy ever gets in trouble, he's going to Canada, which is the code word for Bolivia.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the effort for all of that would be like, I'd be too lazy for it. I'd be like, fine, I'll pay extra taxes. Just don't. I'm already so tired.
I know, for real. I've had so many of those old man moments recently. Just like where I felt like I was falling apart, like physically my body was falling apart, you know?
Oh yeah. My back hurt after sitting at a concert the other night. Like,
I saw that Green Day. Yeah.
Yeah, the Green Day show. Like, everybody else was like standing, and I'm like, I'm just gonna sit and enjoy this. And then the next morning, I woke up and I was like, why does my back hurt? All I did was sit. Like, granted, Oracle Stadium seats aren't luxurious by any means. They're just those plastic buckets, but
right.
Like, they supported me. My back shouldn't have hurt. Oh, they put on a good show, got some good, like, firework and pyro effects. Nothing crazy. It's not like, like a metal show where they're just like tons of fire and it's getting dangerous and you accidentally light James Hetfield on fire.
No, you shut your mouth with that slander. James burned for you.
Yes. James walked so that Green Day could run.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But yeah, no, it was really cool. It was my first time seeing them. The surprise one to me, though, was Smashing Pumpkins.
I forgot they were there. That's right.
Yeah, Smashing Pumpkins. When you listen to them on a CD or, just like listen to them in general, like they come off very grungy, kind of like they're hanging out at the border of like industrial kind of like they're thinking about getting into metal, but not. They don't seem that heavy.
That was back when like Corgan was hanging out with Marilyn Manson, and there was that whole time period where they that was like the what do you call it? That not Ava Dora. What was that album? There's a specific album where you can hear the change, and I'm like, oh, this is what they do now, and then they kind of flip back to it as the years went on.
Yeah, but then they came on and like you could just feel like the down-tuned guitars, the bass, everything just like in your chest. The entire
Nice.
it was I was just like this is so it's fucking heavy. Like
Yeah.
it threw me.
No, I've always been a fan of them. They have a brand new guitarist called Kiki Wong. I haven't heard her Pumpkin stuff, but she was famous, or at least for guys like me online, for being just like a total metal guitarist who looked like a model, like just but an amazing guitarist. So the moment she got the Smashing Pumpkins deal, we were like, "That's fucking incredible." You know what I mean? Like it's like watching somebody, like it's almost like watching like an acquaintance become famous, even though like none of us know who the fuck she is. But like we followed her, so like all of us were like, "What the fuck? You joined the fucking Smashing Pumpkins? That's amazing."
Yeah. I mean, she did a great job. She was up there putting it down with them as well as all the people who've been in the band for a while.
Well, like you were saying, the different kind of music. When you hear her metal stuff, it's your standard like crazy thrashy. You know what I mean? Like it does not, in my mind, it does not sound grunge at all. Like not even close.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely didn't this time.
Well, that's cool. Man.
Like,
I know
that's what
Rancid was there too. I like Rancid too.
Oh yeah, Rancid was great.
Very
Rancid was probably I like Rancid more than Green Day in them, so I was happy to see them.
That's cool.
Chris, you alive over there? Get the coffee,
No.
that coffee,
Yeah,
that coffee bringing you back to life.
Is the kid still screaming?
no, I'm outside. I'm
I
alive.
left the house.
I'm just sitting here. Yeah, I saw the Pumpkins at the Concord Pavilion. What, like 8 years ago or so? They
that's
played
cool.
with Manson.
Oh no way! Nice.
Yeah. I forget who else, but it was Marilyn Manson and the Smashing Pumpkins.
How's Marilyn Manson in concert?
It was a short gig for sure. Like it was almost like, oh, it's over already.
Huh.
I would
Oh, really?
imagine back in his younger years with like a full stadium show, it probably would have been better. But Concord Pavilion doesn't allow for like many. They don't got a good setup for like pyrotechnics and
That's true.
and a huge production.
I remember seeing video of Manson back in like the early 2000s. His shows looked incredible. Like just the stages and stuff looked amazing.
Yeah,
Maybe that's it. Maybe he's just old and tired now.
Yeah.
Could be. Well, but again, the Concord Pavilion doesn't a huge setup for like a great production like that. Like
Sit
we
there and
saw Rammstein at Oracle, or not Oracle, the Oakland Arena.
Yeah,
And that show was flipping amazing with the pyrotechnics and the lasers and that blew my mind.
yeah, that was going to be my example of like a crazy pyrotechnic show. I was just like, I couldn't think of them at the time. I was like, yeah, Green Day, they had some cool fireworks and flames and stuff. Nothing like Rammstein,
Yeah.
but because theirs is just, I mean,
That was a sick show for sure.
yeah, I was surprised. Green Day set alone was 2 hours and 45 minutes.
I was gonna say, my sister said it was super long. She
Yeah,
was
it
like, "Oh
was-
my god, it's still going."
Yeah, it was. I was very surprised how long they played for, because I was like, oh, it's probably going to be like 20 minutes and 30 minutes for the openers, like maybe like 45 to an hour for Smashing Pumpkins and Green Day. No, Smashing Pumpkins was like 90 minutes, and then Green Day was like another 2 hours and 45 minutes, and I was like, holy crap,
Shit.
you're just going.
Still, it sounded like an amazing show for sure.
Oh yeah, it was definitely worth it.
I can't honestly remember the last metal show I've been to. I was definitely much younger. The problem was I went from metal, that I dated somebody who was super into like gothy, synthy stuff, which is fun, but their stage shows for that is just usually just a screen and it's just like stuff in the background. It's never like cool. But it's it's one of those things where I think the last like major ones I went to, if we want to talk about the Conch Pavilion, was like they had a show. I don't even like them that much, but they had a show with Iron Maiden, and it was
Oh yeah.
it was an odd one. I'm not a Maiden guy, but Motorhead was on that bill. I like Motorhead.
hmm
They're pretty fun.
I think we might have gone to the same concert then, because I
We
do
probably
remember
did.
the
Yeah, we
Maiden
probably
Motorhead
did.
concert.
We're talking years ago.
Oh,
Yeah.
Motorhead would be fun to see.
Yeah, Motorhead was cool.
Motorhead was cool, but it was one 45-minute song.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But I
I
loved it.
literally could not understand when they would change songs, with the exception of Ace of Spades.
yeah, exactly.
But like I don't think I understood a single lyric that Lemmy built out or belted out, because it was just with his Lemmy voice, his very distinguished Lemmy voice.
Oh no. As a huge pro wrestling mark, every song was a new Triple H song. It was just like, oh my god, I'm looking to the arena. I'm like, oh, he's not coming. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm at a metal show, not somewhere where I want to be.
Oh, Triple H. Didn't he give a speech about Lemmy? Was it after Lemmy died, or was it like when he was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame or something like that?
Yeah, he did, and then he had like Lemmy's hat and coat or something like that next to him. But then I'll always remember Lemmy. There used to be a website called Metal Sludge, and they used to do interviews with tons and tons of like heavy metal dudes. And I remember, obviously being a huge mark for Lemmy and a huge mark for Trips. I was reading this interview, and like he's being interviewed, and they asked him something like, "Oh, you're doing all this work for WWF at the time, Triple H, blah 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 blah." Like, so what made you start? And I was expecting like some kind of thing about how he's always liked wrestling, or metal and wrestling go hand in hand, and all he says is just because they paid me.
Yeah.
That was it. I was just like, oh, never meet your heroes. Okay, I guess it is just, if I pay you enough, I'm just gonna make a song for you. There's no real passion there. It's all in my head.
I mean, I kind of like that. I just figured
It's real.
no nonsense. Just like, oh no, they paid me to do it. I had no idea what the hell was going on.
It's very, very real. It's not. He just straight up was like, yeah, they gave me a bunch of money. So can you write a song for this guy? Next question.
Absolutely. What's that game you guys have been playing?
Oh, Once Human?
Yeah.
Once Human is a free-to-play survival game that's mixed with like a fever dream. Like it's super weird. I actually, it took me a minute to figure out what it was trying to do. But very long story short, the character creation stuff like that, and the way everything looks reminds you of PUBG, just straight up. And then you start it, and you break out of this medical facility like Dead Space looking thing. And then you get to a certain section, and it becomes like a game like Fear, where you meet this ghost girl. You get this power up. You find out like you're part of like a bunch of like almost like X-Men style mutants, where you're able to like survive this alien invasion, where a lot of people are falling victim and becoming like zombies and like monsters and shit. And then one of the first big fights you fight is a dude in a suit with a briefcase for a head. And you think to yourself, like, this shit's Korean or something, huh? Because like you play and you're like, this doesn't make sense. Like somebody mistranslated English to another language and then retranslated into another language. And then
it looks very Korean.
it's very weird. And I started to love it, because once you kill that opponent, its head pops off, you pick up the briefcase, and I'm like, so I'm gonna like hit people with this or something, huh? And you lift it open, and like papers shoot out like a machine gun, and you just mow people down. And it was fun as hell. I'm still figuring it out. The base building's pretty neat. If not, I don't really understand why we're building it. Apparently, like you can get attacked and stuff, but nothing happens yet. But the whole point of it is there's these crazy monsters that just take up the huge spots of the map that are just there. And that's where it gets really fun. Because obviously you're watching somebody just throw a bunch of random stuff at the screen. It's different. It's definitely different. Like I was looking for something that was kind of like more actiony, but like not. I didn't really want to do the Modern Warfare thing. You know what I mean? I wanted something a little more interesting. So it's scratching that itch right now because I was playing Long Dark for a few days. Totally love it. Great game. I need something to kind of like break up the walking in the snow for 3 hour thing.
The monotony.
Yeah, yeah. Which is the point of that game. Don't get me wrong. That's
Right.
part of what makes it fun is you live in your head when you play it.
Yeah, totally.
But for this one, there's like it's nice to break it up because then I'll start once human. I'll go up against an opponent who's got an umbrella for a head and then shoots out like ghosts, and I'm like, this is fun. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, that does sound like a. All right, I'll install it. Is it? It says it's open world. Is other people in it who come and murder you?
No,
No.
see, here's the nice thing about and I could be completely wrong, but so far it's a really nice environment. Like it's not unless you play PvP, which I haven't done yet, but
Okay.
everybody's super friendly and they do these like was like Dark Souls, I think, where they leave like notes. Like there's a note system there where people will leave notes everywhere, and you're thinking to yourself, is it gonna be a bunch of foul shit? And it's like people saying like I came up here and like you can find this item and this item here, like and there's tons of them. A really nice community so far.
Yeah, I've
Oh, that's
even
cool.
seen like nice notes like, wow, what a beautiful view.
Yeah, it's odd, right? Like it throws
Yeah.
me off. It's I don't know where this game came from, or if it's gonna keep that like kindness, for lack of a better word. But it's interesting. It's definitely worth because it's free, so it's definitely worth trying for sure.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's funny because you use Dark Souls as a reference for that with those notes. I already rage quit playing the first Dark Souls for the first time like 3 weeks ago. I was like, I don't like this. It was also just felt very clunky. But like literally, I think the second and third little notes that people left for me was just like, oh yeah, there's a secret in this hole, and then I jump in and I'm dead.
You
I'm like,
die.
what the fuck, assholes?
I haven't run into that yet. I've run into what Nickell was saying, where you go to a location, you open it up, and then someone will be like, "Oh yeah, this is a great spot to build your house. There are blueberry bushes over here, and there's some rocks on that side." And you go, "Oh shit, there are blueberry bushes over here. Thank you. Hey, this is
Yeah.
great. Like I'm having a good time because you can move your base as you're building it anywhere you want to on the map, and then it's like a 10-minute cooldown. So like it's
Like just literally lift up the entire base and drop
Yeah.
it somewhere else.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah. I mean, obviously, you can't put it on top of other people's shit, but like
Oh,
it
yeah.
is neat because like you'll have these guys who are obviously like architects in their head. They must play The Sims or something because they'll build like these extravagant houses, and I'm just like, and just kind of like wander around,
Oh yeah. Anytime you have a game where you can build a base, people are just gonna go nuts and be, look, I've built this scale replica of the Taj Mahal.
Yeah, for real. Have you played? I think it's Valheim.
Yeah.
So Valheim, I loved Valheim, but all my bases and stuff were like these basically barely pillow forts to keep out like monsters. I could
Mhm.
not like it looked like garbage. It's the building equivalent to that Simpsons episode where Homer builds a website for the first time. And it's like, just a
It's got all
bunch of
the
kids
GIFs on there.
talking and they're flying and it's like flashing shit. It's that. It's like, oh, I needed a wall and I'll just put it here. Click. Oh, fuck, I forgot a bed. We'll just clip it into the wall. Like, boom, like that. It looks like that. I have a buddy who is an artist as a career, and he got the game because I begged him. I'm like, I got to play with somebody. So he bought it and just like overnight built like a mansion. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
every floor was perfect. So that one you can like hop into their game when they're not there. So I went into his house and instead of doing the toxic thing and destroying it, I made little signs that I put my butt on something. So like when he signed on, there's like, I don't know, I spent like an hour of every place I put my ass and screenshotting it. So
I
like
put my
all it
balls
was
on
was
your
like,
drum set.
oh, it looked like Arlington Cemetery. Just all of these signs
God.
for as far as you could see. Like it was my proudest moment. I'll admit. Like it's up there with beating Super Mario for the first time as my proud gaming moment.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm always amazed with the people that build, forts and whatever like that. It's like in Minecraft where people
Oh,
are
yeah.
like, "Oh, look, I built this giant replica of a computer."
Yeah.
just a basic computer, or like they built like bombers
Mhm.
using just
Mhm.
like whatever switches and dynamite and stuff, like bomber planes. And I'm like, look at my house. It has walls and a door. I
That's
can't figure out how
Yeah.
to build like that.
My window is I cut a square out of a different square.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know a bunch of people that are like that. Like they'll start a Minecraft server and then I come in there and I'm like, all right, I've got some resources. I found a cool mountaintop to build my base on, and there's a little underground part, like a little secret part. And then all of a sudden I hear like, oh yeah, I killed the Ender Dragon about 19 times so that we have the things that drop from him, and I've made us a automatically functioning potato harvester where it harvests the potatoes, it roasts the potatoes, it puts them in the boxes for us. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
here?
And you're like, my door.
It's
my
been
door
45
opens.
minutes, guys. How the hell did you do that?
Look, I have a bookshelf.
So in Once Human, you can make everything. Well, my daughter said that exact same conversation with me, where she's staring over my shoulder and going like, "Oh, you can smash trees there. Can you do this, and this?" And I'm like, "No, what is that?" She's like, "Oh, you can do this all in Minecraft." I'm like, "Well, no, that game's for kids." But like what she's telling me, it's like
Yeah.
all of this extravagant shit, and I'm like, "Oh man, no, I can't do any of that in this game." Have you seen me fight this living refrigerator? Do they have that in Minecraft?
Yeah, I fought a briefcase head guy.
Yeah,
Do
exactly.
they have that?
Have you enslaved your first village yet? What? No.
No, yeah, no. You don't understand. This game is a positive game.
Yeah, it's a happy game. We don't do like no. You got to enslave the village so that you get the gems, and then you create a farm where the zombies appear but can't escape from, and they're just corralled like the monsters they are, and then you just commit genocide on them. And you're like, what is going on? When did you switch from Barbie to this?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I gotta go to Costco tomorrow and get a continuous glucose monitor
For what?
for the Beatus,
Oh,
Perfect.
that's right.
For both
I went
types of diabetes, right?
for both types of diabetes. Yeah, I went to the doctor on like 2 weeks ago, and she was like, "Hey, let's schedule an appointment to talk about your test results." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah." And then I get there, and she's like, "So basically, everything is high." And I'm like, "Oh, everything?" She's like, "Everything is high
Top
right
score
now."
in a lot of categories. It's cool.
Yeah. She was like, most of these are because one thing is high and then they cause the other things to be high. But basically, I only want you to eat vegetables and meat for 3 months. And I was like, but bread? She's like, nope.
Oh.
She's like, you're going keto. And I'm like, I don't want to go keto. Keto sucks ass.
Have you done
Whoa.
keto before?
Yeah, I mean, at least I get meat, but part of it is the cholesterol. So for right now, until the cholesterol goes down, it's just fucking chicken. And
Yeah,
then once the
it's all
cholesterol
boiled.
goes down, I can introduce. Well, no, thankfully I've got the air fryer to help me make things a little tasty since I don't have my barbecue.
Uh,
I'm not against the glucose monitor.
oh, good.
No, like almost no fast food unless it's like a road trip to the fucking Renaissance Fair, and I'm like, all right, let's just go to
Right.
McDonald's to fill the kids up. Shitty Wonder Bread made with foam from leftover gymnastics mats.
Jobin, tell us about the Renaissance Fair.
Oh yes. So it's quite expensive. not to get in.
They accept
To get
modern
in.
money. Can you believe
Yes.
that
Yeah,
shit?
it really fucked with the illusion when I couldn't give them these doubloons I bought on Amazon. No, like it's cool.
I
It's
offered
not.
up
It's
one of my children as trade. As a
yeah.
serf.
She's small. She can work the mine still.
That's right.
No, it's cool. I mean, it was cheap. It was like, I don't know, $30 to get in with my
Yeah.
teacher discount. And then
Ooh.
so I was like, okay,
Last
cool.
year
And then
the
kids
discount.
or
So, Jobin, as
freaking-
someone who hasn't been to a Ren fair in like literally 20 years, is it still basically the same? Is it still like just
Oh,
a
yeah.
dirt pit and then they just have little
Mhm.
sections set up?
So now it's I mean, it's still the dirt pit behind Casa de Fruta, like in Los Banos. I don't think it's ever going to leave there. They got a sweet setup, but it's just a giant loop. And it's, the vendor stalls, the food court, or I don't know what they would call the food, the ye olde food court or whatever and then, yeah, just like vendors lining both sides of the path. And then off to one side as you're going is the equestrian area where they do the jousting. And they used to do choreographed, like fights between like people dressed up as like knights, and there was like a story. I mean, at least I didn't see that on the schedule. I only saw the jousting stuff, and the jousting stuff is a bit like they're like, we're gonna play it safe. You're not trying to unhorse the other person. You're just trying to knock a shield we have mounted on their shoulder off of them. I'm like, oh, okay, don't want to kill people.
Was it still pretty fun?
It was fun. I feel like the hype men for each of the teams of the Knights needed to be more hyped up. We needed a lot more of the like Paul Bettany from A Knight's Tale type of hype.
Oh yeah.
Like we need them up on the thing,
I was
screaming,
just
telling
thinking
insane stories. Like
Yeah.
You
like
said
that's
hype man. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, you mean Paul Bettany?
yeah, you mean Paul Bettany? Yeah, the hype
Chaucer.
man. Yep. Oh man, I was like, I wonder what it takes to become one of those dudes, because I could get up there and Bettany up, or I could just remember his speech from there and just be like, yes, this night is so amazing. He
Just
spent a
repeat
year
it over
in
and over again.
yeah, he spent a year in silence atop a mountain just to try and understand better the meaning of speech. Like it just
Couldn't get a few of the local high school drama kids. That would have been a
Dude, right?
fun fucking thing.
yeah, those I bet you those kids down in what's that city? Gilroy would have killed to do that stuff.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
I mean, there were a couple kids working the booths. Like there was this one kid who probably was like 14, 15, and he was working one of the game booths. And I'm like, that might be a fun first job. Like you can't tell anybody at school down in Gilroy because they're all fucking cowboys.
Oh
And they'd beat you
no.
up if you told them that you worked the rent fair. But it's
Yeah.
still a cool first job for you. You could talk about it with your friends who you play D&D with.
Yeah, no, exactly. I actually worked at a Midway when I was a teenager. I think I was like 17,
Nice.
18. So Waterworld opened in Concord, and then the year the kids broke the slide playing a prank,
Yeah.
and one of them died.
Oh, that one.
I remember
the
that.
following year, they were afraid they weren't going to get enough people in the park, so they opened basically like a Midway game area.
Mhm.
And they hired guys like me because they were trying to draw people in. And so I basically learned like how scammy all that shit was, like very early on. And it was pretty funny because like I see it once you like see it, you can't unsee it, and you also know like, okay, you shouldn't play this one. This one sucks. You shouldn't play that one. You can play this one or that one. And I'll never forget like learning learning some of the tricks, so that way you would talk to people and then you would do whatever the action is. Let's say it was like I don't know, throwing a ball into a basket that's slightly tilted up. So as you're talking, you're doing the motion, getting it in like 100% of the time, and then you would hand it to somebody else and you would watch them like mess it up royally. So then you would basically like show them again how easy it is, and they would obviously try to do it themselves. But because we're not standing the same distance, we're purposely distracting you with like just saying random shit as we're talking. You're never going to repeat the motion correctly. So I'm just taking your money. And I had one day where I felt so bad for this dad, and I kept telling him like, because his kid really wanted these stupid stuffed animals, and he badly wanted one, and his kid badly wanted one. So they always tell you in the park, like, hey, we've got secret shoppers and stuff. They'll tell you if you guys are cheating and handing stuff out. It's all bullshit. So he goes and he loses like 3 or 4 times. And I told him, this game is not, I can't remember how I phrased it, but I basically said, like, this game is not the one. If you're trying to get out of the park with a thing, don't play this one, basically. He was determined to win. I could see it in his eyes. Like, he wasn't going to let me, let's say I was like 17. He wasn't going to let like some 17-year-old dude tell him he sucked. you know. But it wasn't. But he didn't understand. I'm on your side. He didn't understand. Like, this is me. I am your hype man. Like, I'm on your side right now. I am your Paul Bettany. I don't want you to lose, and you are going to continuously lose. Fucking read
Yeah.
between the lines, my man. And
I'm trying to help you.
he lost. No bullshit. I don't remember what it cost, but he probably lost like 40-50 bucks. Once that was done, I kept trying to like nudge him into the easier stuff, and just like the concept of like, you get that tunnel vision, you know what I mean? That dad tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Where I even tried to like hint to him, like, if you won a bunch of the small ones, I could probably just trade it for the big one. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even like this job. Like, if this is what they let me go for, so be it. Yeah, he ended up walking away with nothing, and I'm like, I'll never forget that. So now whenever I go to these Midway games, I always tell my kid, like, one, these are scams, and then the ones that aren't scams have the shittiest prizes. So
absolutely,
it's just how it works. Sorry.
That's why I'm happy my kids never got into. I mean, obviously arcades are a much less frequent thing now, but they never got into the ticket games. So like, I'm happy about that.
Very lucky.
Like they're smart enough to be like, no, I'll just play like a regular video game with my money because, I'll show them. I'll be like, here, we'll go play one ticket game. Look, you got like really high points on skee ball. It gave you 3 tickets. Go look at what the cheapest prize is. And they're like, oh, yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, your kids are fortunate.
That's the messed up thing about, quote unquote arcades these days. Like, if you went to Qzar when it was still open.
Yeah. So sad.
Right in my childhood.
To Qzar just like last year, within the last few months, whatever, it's almost all ticket games. Well, no, Qzar, I guess, I would say was like still 50-50. Like ticket games and real arcade games. But you go to somewhere like, what's that one at the mall? Round One.
Yeah.
Round one, yeah.
That's almost all ticket games.
It's based off of a Japanese arcade game company. So like,
well, it's the same thing. It's Round One out there too.
But yeah, it's still it's like all ticket games. You walk into an arcade that big and you're like, oh, I want to play some arcade games, some video games,
Yeah.
Like arcade games or arcades of the days of yore. But no,
I mean,
it's
they have, what's it called? What are the dancing games? Not Dance Dance Revolution, but now like there's like a bunch of other ones, and it's all those big games. Or it's like they've pivoted to making carnival games.
Oh, there are. Yeah.
Instead of video games now. It's not like it's rare to go in there, except for like the big sellers, like whatever the newest version of Street Fighter or Tekken is, or something like that. Where they're not coming out with. They're just not making arcade games anymore like they used to.
It's like what show me a new side scroller bash and beat 'em up of the Avengers. How cool would that be?
They'd be cool for us. It would not be cool for a 7-year-old at this stage of the game. I'm just letting you know.
It's funny because I have one of the arcade emulators set up so that I can play those games whenever I want. And playing through The Simpsons, I'm like, oh, this is like a 1 hour long game because I have infinite money.
Yes.
But in the arcade, it seemed so impossible because
that was the dream. Because I have the same setup, and I'm like, I will still turn stuff on. I will say this: best purchase I ever made was in a stand-up arcade because my kids, those games are still appealing. Like they're super easy to. She doesn't even know what the Simpsons are, or I mean, they Ninja Turtles, yeah, but a lot of those beat 'em ups are so easy for them to figure out.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, there is no better game for a kid than a button mashing game like a fighter, And so you say that would be interesting or, for us and not for like a 7-year-old, but really it would be fun for a 7-year-old.
Once I took my kids to see the new Ninja Turtles movie, I can't think of whatever the name was, but I mean, honestly, it was a very good movie. I was very impressed with it.
I thought it was great.
Then they came out with that new Ninja Turtles side scroller, like Revenge of Shredder, and that's all my like. Whenever we're sitting there, my 7-year-old will be like, "Can I have your phone to play Ninja Turtles?" And I was like, "We got it. It's on PlayStation. You can
So
play it
you're
on the
so
PlayStation."
lucky. My kids don't give a shit. I downloaded it hoping that we could bond, and
wait,
they
wait. Is
were
that the
not.
one that
They could
was
be
on-
less interested.
Is that the one that's also on the Switch? Came
It's
out
on.
a
It's
few
on.
years
Yeah,
ago?
it's on every system. It's on. It's on.
Yes,
It's on the
yes,
phone.
yes,
It's on
yes.
the PlayStation. The
Yes,
PC.
I remember.
yeah,
Okay, I remember playing
Yeah.
that one. Yeah, I know what game you're talking about.
Yeah.
it's cool though because you can play. I mean, you can play as April. You can play as Splinter. You can play as Usagi Yojimbo. And a couple other characters that I don't know from the newer stuff. But then you go through and like hidden in some of the levels are characters from the series that we grew up with. Like those, you remember that whole group of the frogs? Yeah, like they're hidden in some of the levels. So like you find them too, and it's just like a little like nostalgia trip. You're like, oh, it's that guy. I don't think I ever remembered or knew his name.
It's funny you bring that up. I was watching a clip or something recently, the Ninja Turtle toys, and what was the company? Playmates, right? Who made
Probably.
all the toys? They were like, the guy was saying like, if you worked at Playmates and you were working on the Ninja Turtles line, you were basically encouraged to just create your own character. Totally, free of the story. And that's why they came out with so many like random characters that were just like not in any storyline at all.
I owned a
Just
character
because-
called Mondo Gecko, and I don't
Yeah,
remember
Mondo
a
Gecko!
single. I don't remember a single episode with him.
No,
He was
'cause
like
wasn't
Bart
in it.
Simpson, but with a gecko.
But he is in the new movie though.
Is he? He is.
Yeah.
I've never seen the new movie. Straight up, I've never seen it, but I did see. I did own Mondo Gecko. He had stickers. That was his gimmick. He had stickers you could put on his skateboard, and he had a tongue that was attached, I think, to his teeth. So he was always like grimacing, like the wind was in his face. And I will never forget that having that toy, because I remember. I don't know if I picked it. I'm actually 100% sure I picked it. I take that back. But yeah, it didn't go with anything because like he was cool looking in the box, and then I remember buying it, and he didn't, because of his motion, the way his face was. I had to do that kid thing where I had to pretend there was a reason he was always on a skateboard, while he always looked like he was in the wind, because everybody else had these like fighting grimaces, and he was always just like, I can't see. I'm like, okay, but he's one of those first examples for me where I'm like, I don't remember him being anywhere. Like I don't remember a single episode with him in it.
Right. And it's because like they were just trying to pump out toys, and they were like, oh, go ahead and create like whoever you want, And so these toy creators, they just went crazy on it. There was like a buffalo. No, maybe not.
No, you might be right. It got weird at the end.
Right,
I do
yeah.
remember still watching the show at the later days, and then the toys never matched after a while.
Yeah.
Like it was like there would be like, I don't know, like a half shark guy and like a manta ray, and I'm like, I know some of these might have been in the show, but they were not main characters. I don't even know if they had speaking parts.
I'm happy that Ninja Turtles was landing well. That was one of those ones that I was super hardcore into, and the fact that my kids like it is cool. They wanted to get the toys too after the movie and all that stuff, so I let them each.
Yeah, I get it. Your kids love you more than me. It's fine.
Oh no, I don't think so. Yesterday at the Renaissance Fair.
Underscore, there is a difference between loving you and loving the things that you love. Okay.
No, there's
I know-
not.
I know it's hard.
No,
for you
there's
to
not.
see
No,
the
that's
difference.
bullshit. No, there's not. No.
They can still love you.
No, they
not
can't.
Love the things.
No, they
that
can't.
you
I need them to be into a sport of some kind that's not soccer. That way we can go to a thing, so that way they can see how daddy looks like when he's super drunk and screaming at another team. Like we need these moments, or what's the point of even having children? These are all my little lottery tickets, and they're not paying off at all.
I mean, who else is going to sell your collectibles for significantly less than their value after you die, if not your children?
Right. So
That's
I'm
what
at a
they're there for,
garage
man.
sale for like $2. I don't know, $3.
It's gonna be like an Instagram
Mike's
post.
gonna have them priced out ahead of time.
Oh no! They're all worthless now. One of my kids used to stand on the boxes that they were on to reach
Mhm.
shelves to go grab other stuff to break. And yeah, now they've all gone from like, oh, maybe I'll sell this someday to like, oh, this is just gonna go on a shelf. It's just gonna be for
Yeah.
me. But it's all good. What am I gonna do? He's fat. He's a fat little boy.
Oh, dude, yeah. That kid is a unit. He's
Oh,
broad shouldered.
he's the marshmallow man. Call him my little marshmallow baby. But he's solid as hell. That little kid. He has a habit now where he'll like walk up to people and pinch them just to get their attention. And like people over at the house, obviously they think it's kind of adorable, even though it's painful. But they don't know that he's like testing his bullying. Like he's just giving it just a little bit of slack. Like he's just testing what he can get away. I can see in his fucking eyes. He
Right.
just wants to see how much of a shitty kid he can be. And I'm already noticing it. Don't get me wrong, cute as hell. He's gonna be an interesting one.
Yeah.
So I wanted to jump way back to the Ren Fair because
Way back to the
To when there
In
were
the-
actually Ren fairs, when it was just the Ren.
No. I think he means like 20 minutes into the conversation ago.
Oh! I thought we wanted to discuss like life like that. I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's not my history, but I respect
Yeah.
yours.
I don't think it was called the Ren Fair back then, Chris. I think
Yeah.
that's just how people lived.
Yeah, exactly.
No, because I don't know. Every year for the longest time, I haven't gone for a few years, but every year we go to the Scottish Games. But it's also like just kind of jumbled because they got fucking cars there and they got falconers there and they do have Scottish sports, and they got some soccer and bagpiping, of course, but people also dress up, and they do have a period area. I always kind of equated that to a Ren Fair, but not exactly, because I always thought it was interesting with the Ren Fair. It's not Renaissance period. They call it
No, it's
Renaissance Fair, but I always thought it was interesting that, like, oh, you have jousting, but you're calling it the Renaissance Fair? And then you have people dressing up as fairies and fantasy shit like that.
Yeah,
yeah.
that part's weird too. I actually will admit that. I don't.
At the Renaissance Fair and the Scottish Games, you have pirates. Like,
Interesting.
like people
At the Scottish Games.
people dress up as pirates at the Scottish Games and at the Ren Fair. And I'm like, the variety of what people dress up as at the Ren Fair, because I'm like, none of this is Renaissance.
no. It's
If anything, you should call it the medieval fair. It looks like,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. No, that's absolutely. We were talking about that as we were going in, because I was like, it's not the Renaissance. The Renaissance was like the 1600s. Like all the knights and all this stuff is more like what, like Arthurian, which is like
Yeah.
900 to 1200 type of thing. And then
Yeah.
pirates was like 16 to 1700s. And then you got the fucking anime kids coming in. Who
Right,
knows
and
what's
then
going on?
You got like the D&D people, the LARPers, they're
Yeah.
dressing up as fairies and stuff. And it's like, I'm not bashing it by any means. I'm like, okay, if you guys, like, you got a space where you can go to a fair and dress up, and it feels kind of like
Oh, yeah.
D&D. And I think that's, I guess I'm more like, maybe you guys should just name it like the Fantasy Fair or something like that.
Yeah.
Or, you can't use a trademarked term, but like call it the D&D fair, or I don't know.
But see, I think you would draw a different crowd if you gave it that
If
fantasy
you
element.
said the fantasy fair,
You know what I mean? I would be down for it, but then it would just be another like WonderCon or something. I think you keep it Ren Fair
true,
and you
true.
just open it up to every timeline.
right,
Mhm.
right. No, I'm not saying like, yeah, don't let people in who are not dressed at in a period piece. But I just always thought it was interesting, the Renaissance Fair, but yet we have medieval jousting.
Actually, yeah, no, there wasn't a single Da Vinci there. What the fuck is this? I've been swindled. But I mean, it was cool. Yeah, I didn't buy anything because, again, like all of the vendors, and I'm not advocating to go to Amazon and buy that shit instead. But even just like going to Etsy and finding somebody who makes that thing would be infinitely cheaper. Like you could find a cool, well-designed wooden mug handcrafted on Etsy for like $100. There was one dude selling them for like $350 to $400.
Jesus Christ.
And like, yeah, they looked beautiful, but no, I'm sorry. That's not that beautiful.
There was one guy that was dressed as Michelangelo, but he was the
Turtle?
Ninja Turtle.
I was going to say, was the Ninja Turtle Michelangelo?
Not the artist.
I mean, why can't you like, they should combine the outfits. It's just Michelangelo, the Ninja Turtle with like a Venetian cloak,
You
Oh,
see
you know
that?
what someone
a big
has.
beard.
You see,
You know,
that
there's always
sounds-
that guy. It's
That sounds
like,
like a Comic-Con costume.
Daniel, we know. Okay, man, we get it. This is like our 8th Renaissance fair. Just change the mask color, brother. Like, I guarantee you someone's sick of it. Like, we got to do this every year. And now we're going to the Scottish games, man. He's not even Scottish. Take that shit off.
Yeah.
I guarantee you there's at least one dude.
I mean, there's at least 9 people dressed as Link there. And then
Well, you're right, though. The magic thing, it didn't dawn on me, but I do remember, even back when I was young, there being like people dressed up as wizards and stuff. I remember that because it's funny because talking about the Renaissance Fair, in my mind, it's a fantasy fair. That's how much I remember like the fantasy elements already going to those things. Yeah, it didn't dawn on me until you said it, but in theory, it has no time. It has no timeline. It's basically going to the circus.
it's like a multiverse festival at this point.
That blows my mind because I never would have really. Again, I've been to 2, but I've never thought
never
about
been
it
to
that
one.
hard.
I've never been to one, but I've seen enough media realize what people look like when they go there. And so it's like
To be
I
fair to
don't know,
me,
can
when
you
I was young,
change the
I
name?
remember there's photos of me with a Super Mario Brothers shirt and a wooden shield, just walking around. I still had that shield for years. That thing was cool. And then I bought a sword. I want to say like 5-6 years after that. But just like Jobn was saying, it took so long to get there that there was just no. Well, I know my father would just look at it and be like, "Yeah, we're not driving that anymore."
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I mean we go to the Scottish games once a year, but we also get in for free.
Well, then
So-
it's got a cultural meaning for you too. That's a little different.
yeah. My parents set up the tent for the clan.
Yeah, see,
Our
that's
family
cool.
clan. The family
There you
clan.
go. There you go. Good clarification. Good
Not-
clarification.
Not a
I
clan
was
with
like,
the same-
I don't
aha.
know why, being the only
The
brown person in the
Antioch-
room, I went, yeah, that's great. That's great. Whatever it takes for me not to be killed. That's awesome.
It's like the
Clan with a
Pittsburgh
C.
and Antioch party is coming out now.
Yeah. Oh,
Well, that's definitely going to be a
But-
clip.
But you know what? But you know what's fun about the Scottish games? Is,
you almost did it again. You know what's fun about the clan? I heard it. I heard it come out of you.
no, you're making that up. I didn't
No,
say that.
I just heard the C come out. No,
Then I
you know, like
realized.
in kindergarten class, they do that shake thing where like they just shake all the energy out. We got to do that with you real fast. Just like take your arms out, but don't put them up over your head. Just put them to your side and shake it out a little bit, man. You'll be good.
No, you know what's great about the Scottish games though is that they do have the like world championships for all of the, because they call it the Scottish Gathering and Games. So they actually have and legitimate like we're not just like jousting for fun, blah 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 for show.
Oh yeah.
These are like legitimate world championships.
Yeah, no, I am familiar with it. It is
and-
crazy, like the strength tests and stuff.
in
where
the-
they're
in the
throwing these
throwing-
giant things.
Yeah, in the throwing event, one year the Mountain was competing.
Yeah, I went that year.
Oh,
did
no
you?
way!
Yeah, that was the year that I went.
Yeah,
That must have
okay.
been great.
Yeah, because so you're like, oh, dude, this is like this guy crushed what's his face's head.
Oh, Pedro Pascal.
Yes, yeah, because in Game of Thrones, Pedro Pascal got his head crushed, right?
Yep.
By
Like
the
a
Mountain.
grape.
Right.
That was
Fuck,
was
man.
cool to watch. I definitely liked going and watching that. And then
Right. One year,
I-
so there was a year couple years I worked with an Italian company, and Italians from Italy, and I invited two of them to the games one year, and they had a blast. They had a great time watching all the throwing events and stuff.
Mm-hmm. So this is one of those fathers, brothers, sisters, nephews, cousins, uncles thing. My girlfriend's sister's husband. So every year we do like and I say every year, but we just started this last year.
I was gonna say, didn't you just get a new girlfriend?
Well, I mean, every year is still a correct term. We have done it every year.
This is true, 100% of the time so far.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. We do a trip up to Fort Bragg for Mother's Day. We take the moms up there.
I like Fort.
Oh yeah, it's nice. And we were down on the beach, and there was just a shitload of driftwood, and we're just like caber toss. We're just down there doing our best to launch completely unbalanced lengths of wood. And I mean, it's like, at the base of one, it's, a solid 8-10 inches across, but then up at the tip, you could like thread a marshmallow onto it. But it's but it's like 20 feet long. And so we're doing it. We've got, we're trying to just waggles in the air and falls flat. And I'm sure people were just like, what the fuck are these dudes doing?
Honestly, I'm pretty sure people were like, I wish that were me playing with driftwood. I can't imagine something I wouldn't want to do more if I were just sitting there on the beach and seeing a bunch of cool pieces of wood floating around. I'm throwing it. I don't even know where I'm throwing it at or what I'm going to do with it, but it's going to be in the air at some time.
Just building a cool beach shack with it.
Yeah.
That'd be fun too. Be our own real live once human house.
Right? Right? I think that's why it scratches an itch for me. It's scratching the like I need to build a lean-to and survive the way my ancestors did as we're fighting like pieces of furniture that have been infested with an alien virus.
Exactly.
Tale as old as time for the Filipino families.
Exactly. I mean, what else are you going to do to work up the hunger for all of the lechon?
Right? Yeah, exactly. And they say we don't have culture.
Oh, God. I don't think that's I don't think that's anything that could be accused of the Filipinos to not have culture.
I think they might have a little too much culture sometimes. They might. There's a handful of those that trust me that would have been like, oh, the Scottish one's talking about a clan. Oh, he's not talking about the one.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you the story about my Filipino aunt and the vegetarian lumpia?
No, but why would they do something so terrible?
Because we got just follow me, because it's gonna make sense, because that statement doesn't make sense, and that statement didn't make sense to her either. But she tried. In my extended family, not a lot, but like 3 or 4 vegetarian or vegan people. And
enough.
Lumpia, like she would make like 4 or 5 massive trays of lumpia for holidays.
Sure.
And my mom asks her one day, she's like, hey, will you make one that's vegetarian? Just one of the trays be vegetarian. She's like, oh yeah, that's fine. So we get there, we're doing it. We're warming the lumpia up in the oven. We got the sweet chili sauce, what you're supposed to have for it. And oh, there goes Chris.
Well,
I guess he doesn't like lumpia.
Say the same thing. I was just like, the one who's part of a clan decided not to hear about the ethnic thing.
He's like, fuck your virtue signaling, John.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I didn't know the Time Pals got all woke all of a sudden.
Oh man. Oh yeah, I'm gonna finish telling the story even though
please do, because now we're halfway into it. Yeah.
Now we're halfway into it. So we're doing it, and I'm of course not paying attention to them at all. I'm going straight for the meat ones. But my my oldest, good timing, Chris.
Sorry.
My oldest, so when I got married to Anna, we adopted her younger sister, so she's 24 now, so oldest my oldest is technically 24. So she's sitting there and she's eating lumpia, and she's like, I'll have one of the vegetable ones. And she dips it and she takes a bite, and she's sitting there chewing it. Has like this look on it. She dips it again, takes another bite. And by this point, keep in mind, the vegetarians and the vegans have been eating them the entire time.
Oh,
and she looks at me. Yeah, she looks at me and she's like, "Are these the vegetarian ones?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She goes, "They have meat in them." Come to find out that apparently vegetarian to a mid-70s Filipino woman is just
Lamb.
putting more vegetables in there than she would have normally put into the lumpia.
Oh, I love it.
And I was
That's
like, this is the
perfect.
best thing ever.
That's perfect.
Accidentally dosing the people. I checked with them afterwards. I was like, I'm sorry. And they're like, oh, it's fine. Fortunately, none of them are, I guess, vegetarian or vegan for moral reasons. So they're not like, no, I
Right,
just
yeah.
ate a pork. It's all health related stuff for them, or just not liking meat or something. I'm like, okay, I don't feel as bad then.
I guess this episode is going to be mostly about your experiences in the Renaissance and the Scottish games. I'll make something work.
I was gonna say, I
work.
think this episode is gonna be mostly about our attempts to talk about our experience in the fucking Scottish games and the Renaissance.
Exactly. And
Yeah, the
Nickell's
concert
questionable
conversation
decisions.
wasn't bad either.
Yeah, his clan associations.
Let's not make it about.
No, I loved it
not
so much
shift it
because it was
towards that
perfect. When you
focus.
logged out, it was like right when Jobn was just like, so yeah, here's this kind of ethnic thing, and it's almost like you went, hey, fuck that.
I quit.
I quit. That's right. Anyways, good enough for Time Pal's work. I mentioned at the top of the episode, but we have a lot of really fun stuff planned for fall, beginning with some horror-based stuff and a new series where the Time Pals try to break an AI RPG campaign maker. So this is Underscore for the rest of the pals. We'll see you next time.